Go to Genesis 27. Genesis 27. And Genesis chapter number 27 is where we're going. I'll tell you what, let's back up to Genesis 24. Genesis 24. And we're going to get right into it, young people. And I'm going to be done here in about 25 minutes. And so I think I need to be done by about 10 o'clock. Is that right, Brother Ross? What time do I need to be done? That would be only if I'm preaching. Never mind. 25. All right, perfect. So go to the end of Genesis 27, and we're going to get right into it. You're going to find out the love story here. Are you ready? Look at verse number 62. Genesis 24:62. The servant is coming back. Listen now. The servant was sent out to get a wife for Isaac. Isaac now, the servant is coming back with Rebekah. Are y'all there? Genesis 24, look at it. Look at verse number 61. Rebekah arose and her damsel, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well of that place, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. Look at this. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, What man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, It is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into her mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Now let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I do not pray right now because it's what we do. I'm praying because I need your help. Lord, we are sitting here in the morning. No doubt it was a late night last night for some. No doubt the distractions of the day can kind of preoccupy us, and things that are coming up and the fun activities. But Lord, I know the heart of the pastor and the church and the staff, and I know the preachers that are here. Our heart is that an eternal truth would just get into the hearts of these young people, that they'll make some decisions. And God, may this be one of them. Bless. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Here you have a man and a woman that fall in love. This truly is one of those marriages inside this family that is incredible. Many times as a pastor, one of the places that I feel the most awkward at is when I get a call from a good family. And from a good family that says, Pastor, we're having a difficult time. Would you come help us in our home? Good marriage, good kids. And I feel like an intruder. This is what we're about to do. We are about to look into the home of a good family. If you travel through Genesis 25, you travel through Genesis 26, we arrive at Genesis 27. When I arrived here in my time studying the book of Genesis and looking for a couple of themes here, when I came to this chapter, I truly had this thought. Why all of a sudden did Rebekah go crazy? So I'm going to preach this morning on this subject, a mama gone crazy. A mama gone crazy. Let me start with this statement. Listen to this. From 0 to 13, your parents raise you. From 13 till the day your parents die, you raise them. I'm going to say that again. From 0 to 13, your parents raise you. From 13 to the day they die, you raise them. And the decisions you make as a teenager and an adult, a young adult, a mature adult, your parents have to live with these decisions. What made this mama go crazy? Well, let's look at it. Genesis 27. We're going to walk through it, if you will. And it came to pass, I lied, I'm going to use this mic right here. And it came to pass, when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here am I. And he said, Behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, and that my soul may what? Bless thee before I die. I'm going to kind of, because of time constraints, I'm going to tell you the story, and we're going to look at sample verses. Here's a dad. He's old. He's getting ready to die, and he knows that I've got to pass this blessing on to my oldest son. It was traditional. It is what was done in the Jewish culture. And understand this blessing, this one blessing from this man to this oldest son was the blessing. In fact, it was this kind of blessing. It was the blessing that we now know as the nation of Israel. That little tiny country that nobody can conquer and nobody can destroy. You want to know why? Because that is part of this blessing. So here you have a dad. He's getting done. He's at the end of his days. He says to his son, son, I want you to go out, kill me, bring me back. I'm going to eat. And then, son, I'm going to give you the blessing. When you get to verse number 5, and Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, bring me venison. So now you have a mama. What made this wife, listen to this, what made this wife disrespect her husband? Y'all, listen to this. I've been married for 32 years. Now, Kelly, my wife, has connived in 32 years. Y'all, listen to this. She has done some conniving that I woke up and said, I'm no match for your wits. I mean, whenever the wife comes home and says, you want to know how much money I saved you? You know, young men, listen to this. That's code for whatever I saved you, I doubled in expenses. But I know this, I would be totally shocked if I showed back up and I landed Wednesday morning and drove home and I walked in the house and all of a sudden I found out that my wife totally disrespected me and what I was doing, and I would be totally shocked. What made this wife disrespect her husband? Not only that, what made this mama hate her oldest son? Now pay attention, because I won't be here long. What made this mama hate her older son enough to rob the blessing? Because that's what's happening here. No mama in her right mind does that to her children, but this mama did. On this day, at this moment, this wife disrespected her husband. This day, this mama was against her oldest son. Not only that, but the third thing you're going to find is that look who she pulls in. Verse number 6, and Rebekah spake unto what? Jacob. So now she says, look, younger son, come help me. Because we've got, listen to this, we have to lie to your daddy. What? Seriously? Here is this love story of a marriage that when we get to chapter 27, all of a sudden she's like, no, you are not giving Esau the blessing. I am not going to let Esau get the blessing. And Jacob, you're going to help me lie to dad. So we go down through here. And he says this in verse number 9. Look at it. She says this. Go now to the flock and fetch from thence 2 good kids of goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat it, that he may bless thee before his death. Look at verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Look at verse 12. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. Do you know what this son said? This son said, Mama, what are you doing? Do you have any idea that the moment I walk in, I'm a smooth man? That as soon as dad's smart, Mom, as soon as dad figures out that I am not Esau, Mama, he not only is not going to give me the blessing, he's going to curse me. And look what Mom says. Mom says, if you will, look at verse 13. Here's what his mom said. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse. She said, don't worry about your father. I'll take whatever curse he gives you. Now, young people, look right up here. This marriage and this family is the poster child of what a family should be. This husband and this wife are in love. What happened? What made this wife disrespect her husband? What made this mama go against her older son? What made this mama drag her younger son in to be a liar? And then when it comes right down to it, look at verse number 15. Verse number 16, if you will. And she put the skins of kids of goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck, and she gave him the savory meat and bread with it prepared. And he came unto his father, verse 18, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I. Who art thou, my son? Here it is. And Jacob said unto his father, up to this point, it was just a plot. But mama dressed him up. Mama smelled him up. Mama gave him the venison. And she said, now, go lie to your father. And Jacob walked in there. Daddy can't see, but daddy can smell and daddy can hear. And he says, who are you? And he said, I am your son, Esau. Young people, listen to this. We now are in dangerous territory. All because of a woman gone mad. Why? What did this? She's against her husband. She wants to rob the blessing from her older son. She drags her younger son into lying. Twice, Jacob lies. So you find out that Jacob goes in and Jacob receives the blessing, and what a blessing. Go all the way down to verse number 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of the blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he had also made savory meat. And he said unto his father, halfway through the verse, let my father arise and eat. Verse 32, and Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy firstborn Esau. Look at verse 33, and Isaac what? Trembled. Y'all, all of a sudden this dad realizes something's not right. I won't belabor, but if you read through these verses, the next couple of verses, basically Esau says this, Dad, don't you have a blessing for me? And he says, son, I've already given away the blessing. He said, but Dad, hast thou not reserved one blessing for me? Now, Isaac, Dad, did bless Esau, but it was such an inferior blessing. He'd already given away the entire nation to Jacob, the entire blessing. He said, son, I do have a blessing, but it's not going to be like that. And all of a sudden, you come all the way down, and Esau said to his father, hast thou but one blessing, verse 38? And Isaac, his father, answered, and then he blesses. Look at verse 41. Look at it. Look at the very first phrase. And Esau what? Hated Jacob. What? Why? Young people, I'm coming down to it because I have two more whys to bring out. Why? What happened between chapter 24 and chapter 27 that made this wife on this day disrespect her husband? Made this mama rob the blessing from the older son? Made this mama have her younger son lie to his daddy twice? And now the brother hates the other brother. In fact, if you'll notice here, how bad was it that he hated? Look at verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. You know what he was saying? Dad's sick right now. So if you'll let Brother Bob kind of play this out to some degree. Dad's dying, the mourning takes place, and basically what Esau was saying this. If Jacob was standing here, Esau basically was saying, hey Jacob, it's mourning time for Dad because he's dying and will die, and we have mourning to go through. But as soon as we're done, I'm going to kill you. I hate you. Why? Why did this family all of a sudden fall apart? What made this, and all because of this woman. What made Rebecca do this? There was no need for this. 0 to 13, your parents raise you. From 13 to the day you die, the choices you make raise your parents. The day they die. Word comes back to Rebecca, and we read it right here in verse 40. Verse 41, look at verse 42. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, Behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. Look at verse 43. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, arise, flee thou to Laban my brother to Haran, and tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away, until thy brother's anger turn away. We're going to stop. Let me recap, and then I'll give you the why. We get to chapter 27, and a wife disrespects a husband. A mama does not want success to happen to the older son. This mama then gets the younger son to lie to daddy twice. This lie robs the blessing. This blessing now is robbed. Now brothers hate each other. The one brother says, as soon as we're done putting dad in the grave, and as soon as we're done, I'm going to kill you. Mama hears what the older brother says, and then comes to the younger son and said, look, son, Jacob, your brother hates you. I want you to go to your uncle's house, and I want you to stay there. Because look at mom's reasoning at the very end of it, at verse 45. Because mom is smart enough to know this. Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then will I send and fetch thee from thence. Look at the last phrase. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day? You know what mom literally was saying? Mom was saying, Jacob, if you don't get out of here, Esau's going to kill you. I lose my son. Then listen to this. Not that bell. Don't listen to that bell. Listen to this. But Jacob, as soon as Esau figures out that I was the one that did this, my relationship with Esau's done. Why? If you'll give me the next 10 minutes, and I mean that, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. If you'll go to the end of chapter 26. Go to the end of chapter 26. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. Can we read verse 35 together out loud? Ready? Which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to... Young people, I'll close it all out. Look right up this way. Why? Here's why. Esau disrespected his family by who he married. And the parents couldn't take it. If you're single here today, listen to the preacher passing through your world. Outside of your salvation, the greatest decision you will ever make is who you marry. And if that person that you're interested in or will be interested in, if they do not fit in your family, do not date them. Because if you force any individual on your family and you drag somebody home that doesn't have your values of your family, and they don't have the God of your family, and they don't have the God of the church that you're being raised in, and you get them and you let your heart fall in love with them and you force them into that family, listen to this, that is the reason why on this day Rebekah snapped. Because Isaac and Rebekah, I want you to get the picture. Esau is 40 years of age. He can make any decision he wants to make, but the decision he made on who to marry became such a grief of mine. See, you don't know this, but in the back room when moms and dads get together, it goes like this. And when an adult child, so let's just take this wedding scenario and let's play it out. Esau gets married, and mom and dad come back from the wedding, and no doubt dad and Isaac and Rebekah now have retreated behind the tent door. And as I have done 100 times with my wife, we're getting ready and taking off the whatever we had going on, and I come in from a wedding, and 100 times I can just see him taking off that boutonniere, and Rebekah's kicking off her sandals, and the silence is thick. Then all of a sudden, Rebekah says, Isaac, can you believe what our son did? You believe who he married? I know, Rebekah, I know. You understand, they don't fit with our family. They're pagans. They don't even love our God. They don't want nothing to do with our God. And our son married these guys. I know. That's enough. I'll never accept them. I'm not. Now, Rebekah, that's enough. It's already done. There's nothing we can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. I'm never accepting them. They're not my daughters. They're just my son's wives. Now that's enough. You know we have a lot of holidays to spend. Not at my table, they're not. You listen to this. Whether you realize it or not, you go ahead and you date and you bring somebody home that your mom and dad do not agree with and they do not approve of, and you will be, listen boys, listen, have enough respect to listen. And they will absolutely grieve themselves to death. You owe your mom and dad the right to enjoy another son and another daughter in that family. You do not have the right to rob from them a blessing that they can have till they die. And young people, I'm calling on you right now to make up your mind that you will not date. You will not date. You will not be interested in anybody that your mom and dad says no to. Because if you go ahead and you force a relationship, you will become a grief of mind. And no matter what you say, it will work. Your daddy's I'm a politician. I can smile at people who stab me in the back, and I can smile at people who do me dirty, and I can be okay. But my wife can't take it. She can't take it. And the average mama can't take it because the only thing your mama has is you. And the only thing your mama has, she don't care about the cars, she don't care about the houses, she don't care about the money. She will give up her life to make sure you've got what it takes. And for you to come home with somebody that your mom and dad do not agree with and they don't fit the God of your family is wrong. Wrong. Rebecca, there's a reason why Rebecca all of a sudden in chapter 27 went crazy. Would you please read the first phrase in chapter 27 up to the comma? What does it say? And it came to what? Pass. If you do the math on when they got married, the math on how long it took them to have children, the math when Esau got married, and the math when Isaac dies. And it came to pass. This mama, it is right at 80 years she had to live. It's right at 80 years she had to pass them girls. Right at 80 years. She still didn't get over it. And no wonder on that day, listen, I'm about done. On that day, when she walked past that tent and she overheard her husband say to her son that married these heathen girls, I'm going to give you the blessing. All of a sudden it was like, you're going to do what? You're going to reward this boy? And no doubt she's remembering the conversations that they've had. Isaac, you know what this does to me, and you're going to give him everything? Not on my watch, you're not. Ain't going to happen with me. And that day she disrespected and plotted and pulled and manipulated and connived. Why? To keep that older son from getting the blessing. Because mama knew this. If Esau is given the blessing after he married heathen girls, would you go to the end of chapter 27? Go to the very end of chapter 27. And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. Heth, Hittites. They're the same group of people. If Jacob, look at this, if Jacob take a what, please? Wife of the daughters of Heth, such as these which are of the daughters of the land. Look at it. What good shall my life do me? This mama had a grief of mind, but now this mama was suicidal at the very end. And here's what mom said. This is not going to happen, because you listen to me. Isaac, if you give that boy the blessing, and you give that boy the blessing after he's disrespected our family, I still got a younger son. And I understand they're in their 40s and well into adulthood, but mamas don't ever think of you as growing up. You know how mamas think? I've already have one son that's taken heathen women into this family, and this family is no longer the happy family it used to be. And I'm not going to have this happen to the younger son, because Isaac, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm already grieved because of what Esau has done. And if that younger son of ours, although be it by just, if that other son takes them daughters of the land, my life's no good to me. Young people, I'm coming to you in the next 5 minutes and telling you this. Give your mom and dad veto power over anyone that you would date and be interested in. Listen to this. And every day put them on trial. The decision's very simple. And you're going to make a decision right now. I'm not even going to give you time to think about it. You're going to make a decision right now. Either you are going to love your mom and dad enough to say to them, Mom and Dad, I love you, and I'm giving you veto power. And then you put the person you're interested in every day on notice and tell them this. My mom and dad may have agreed to us to be interested in each other right now, but if tomorrow morning I wake up and my daddy says, no, you're done. Do not use your parents to manipulate what you want to get done if you know that guy and girl have gone bad. Every parent deserves the right to say yes on Monday and no on Tuesday. Every parent deserves to say yes at the beginning and no at the end. But we've got a bunch of adults that are like, well, no, you can't change your mind. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And it's called faith that mom and dad know what they're talking about. And you can take all the memories you've had, all the great vacations you've ever had, all the good you've ever experienced growing up. You can ruin it with one choice. And that choice is who you bring home to your parents. At the Gray House, it was very simple. If the people we were interested in couldn't hang for turkey dinner, they were gone. I just thought about this about 8 months ago. My father, you gotta understand my father. My father has his laboratory, and he mixes together sarcasm, and he mixes together truth and sarcasm, and he gets this little potion, he gets this impish grin on his face, and he'll mix this and it bubbles up. It's the witch's brew, and then he'll take his little darts and he'll fill his little darts with darts of sarcasm, and then during Thanksgiving dinner when we would bring somebody home that we were interested in, he would take those little darts and he would wait for the right time, and then he'd take that blow dart gun and he'd raise it and he'd put that dart in and that dart would hit whoever we were interested in. I can remember I brought this girl home to Thanksgiving dinner, and my dad mixed this potion, and he's grinning, and I thought, oh, no. I mean, I'm really interested in this girl. And then mixing that thing, and he took and filled that dart with sarcasm, and we all sat down, prayed, cut the turkey, and then all of a sudden, here it come. I saw the invisible blowgun go up to his face. I saw him put in the dart, and I saw him, and I saw that girl go, I think I need to go home. And my father's sitting at the end of the table, and he simply does this. I bring Kelly home, my current wife. I bring Kelly home. And I bring her to Thanksgiving dinner. And my father, he's got this grin on his face, like, set him up and I'll knock him down. So we're sitting at the other table, and sure enough, he takes that little dart. He fills it full of sarcasm. We pray, cut the turkey dinner, and he puts that dart in the end and raises the invisible blowpipe, and he goes, hit right there. Kelly looks at it, looks at him, takes the dart out, and then raises her proverbial dart gun. My father looks at me and he goes, yeah. But if you're not careful, here's how the conversation is going to go. Now, look, you're going to go see Mama, and now we're going to go to their house, but you got to understand, can you wear your dresses a little bit longer, and can you wear them a little bit, and can you get rid of the gum, and would you not walk like this, because they don't walk like that, and can you kind of tone down the makeup and tone down the hair? Could you kind of just be like a Christian for just a little bit, because they really got to love you? Now, Mom and Dad, they're coming. She's coming, and she's really a good girl. And if you'll just give me some time, I think I can help her see our God and help her see it. Or she just wasn't raised this way. She needs a little bit more time. And now when you get there, please don't talk about your movies. Don't talk about your music, because they are like straight-laced. And you listen to me. If you're having to explain your parents to the person you're interested in, and you're having to explain to your parents the person you're interested in, drop them. You say, well, I'm not even dating. One, can I say this, teenagers? You're smart. But you need to make up your mind from this point to the day you get married. You're always on trial. Because I am not going to do this to my parents. Going back to this one. I do a lot of weddings. Brother Ray does a lot of funerals. That's because he knows more older people. I do a lot of weddings. And people are always asking me to do weddings. In 32 years, done a lot of weddings. This only happened to me twice. I'll end with this story because I needed to shut up and sit down. Doing a wedding, and the usher comes to get me. We have like 7-8 minutes before the wedding's supposed to take place, and the usher comes around the corner. He said, Brother Bob, and that's what I was known by back then. Brother Bob, you're needed. So I go around to the front, and I'm like, man, we got 7 minutes. And it was a small church, and there's 2 sections, just 2 sections. And go to the room, and there's the bride standing there, veiled, just everything you can picture as a beautiful bride. The dress, the veil, just the makeup, the hair. Beautiful young lady. Dad standing there, and I could tell that something's wrong. Long story short, every day that this girl, and you probably know where the story is going, every day that this girl that was interested in this boy, dated this boy, got engaged to this boy, she had asked her dad, Dad, you still okay? Every day Dad was okay. Dad looks at me and he says, this morning, Brother Bob, we woke up and my wife looked at me. She said, I'm sick. Just sick. Wedding day, I'm sick. And he goes, so am I. She says, you think she'll ask you today? She hadn't failed yet. We got ready, we're here. And Brother Bob, about 20 minutes ago, she did. She looked at me with the joy of a wedding day. He said, Dad, one last time, do you still approve? He said, sweetheart, I've never lied to you a day in my life. A day in your life. No. You could tell that you look closer through the veil of makeups now. You could tell this is devastating. She looks at me through that veil and she says this, I love my mom and dad. I will not disrespect my mom and dad. I'm not going to do it. Would you make our apologies to the crowd, and would you called his name, the groom, then I will call him this afternoon. And I said, okay. Walked around that hallway. Hardest thing to do was to tell the groom and then meet with the groom and the parents and explain. I mean, the people are still waiting in the auditorium. And I said, she's already left with the parents. Why don't y'all just go ahead and slip out? And walked out to the church and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your patience. As you can tell, we've been delayed, and unfortunately, there's not going to be a wedding today. And the bride and the groom still have some things they kind of need to work out, and they felt like today was just not that day. There's 1 or 2 reactions sitting in this room right now as I tell that story. One, if your reaction was, well, what about the wedding dress, and what about the invitations, and what about all that food, and all the people that did all that, and what about all those presents? Like, they don't get those presents? Like do you divide up the presents and send them with the gift, and then you get taken back, and is that like a consolation for calling it off? I mean, and then who gets to eat all that food? I mean, did somebody slip over there and eat it? I would have, because I would have went over. If that was your thought, and if your thought was all about the trappings, But if your thought just now was, that was hard, but it was right, then you get it. You get it. Young people, I'm going to ask you to give a late Mother's Day gift and a late Father's Day gift to your parents. And that is the right to say no to whoever you're interested in at any time. And it doesn't matter if they agreed on day one and then disagree on day two. And to put whoever you're dating on notice the day that my parents say no, we're done. No matter how much I have invested. Head bowed, eyes closed.